Welcome to the Forum on WSMI. It's an event 100 years in the making. Carlinville will celebrate 100 years of Route 66, and that will take place on Friday. Most events taking place on the Macoupin County Courthouse lawn, across the highway of the Cannonball Jail, and just an exciting day of activities on the way. I had a chance to speak with Mary Tinder. It would be hard for me to mention all of the hats she wears. Also, a historian and a great local resource for history, Andrea Duncan, and City Hall fixture, Bobbi Bates. And the event taking place on the same day as the Carlinville zip code, 62626. We talk about the origin story now.
One of the reasons we are having the Jubilee on the courthouse lawn is that Sheriff Sean Call and the county board member Harry Starr had told Mary and I at different times that they really would like for the lawn to be used like it used to be used. So when this idea came up, it was like, okay, it's got to be on the courthouse lawn because that's probably where they would have had a celebration. And so thanks to them for the idea.
That was their idea, and I totally had forgotten about it at this point.
And then the other is a thank you to the county board who gave us permission to do this and have been very kind and supportive of it. And we're kind of hoping that maybe this would be the first of, I would like to say many, but more to come.
Yeah, there is more to come.
Yes.
But the one thing that I wanted to mention, thanks to Larry Kaburk, who came to me at City Hall over 2 years ago, and he and his wife had the conversation about the date of June 26th this year. So he really got the right people on gear years ago to make sure that this is going to be a good event for this day.
Let's talk more about that setting. There are some unbelievable stats tied to interest in the county courthouse and the neighboring Cannonball Jail. Mary Tinder talks about the number of visitors and more so how far away they came from.
We've had visitors. We keep a registration in the jail and for about 30 different countries. Mm-hmm. So people come here internationally, and they already know about that on Route 66, that in the courthouse before they come here. Mm-hmm. And every state in the union, have we gotten?
Oh, yes.
Every state in the union. One of the farthest places, I think, is New Zealand. We have quite a few visitors from
And a lot of that is because of Rivers and Routes and their advertising that the city and the county do with them. So they treat us pretty good, and we love them. So.
Bill McLean, a couple years ago, gave a presentation on people who were in the Cannonball Jail during the time that Route 66 was right outside its door. And I took him to the Macoupin County Archives, and then he looked through all the judges' dockets and that type of thing to find out information. There's some good stories, and there's some funny stories of people and how they got put into the jail for overnight. So he's going, and I think it's twice, isn't it, that he's going to?
Yeah, he's going to do it a couple of times.
Yeah. So that will be over at the jail, and the jail will be open, obviously, that day for people to go in and out.
Speaking of the jail, do we want to talk about fun thing that we're thinking about now is so it's a county courthouse and you've got county officials and it seems like they're all dignitaries, and why don't we get a few of them involved in this? So we've got a couple of board members and even maybe a mayor who are going to be involved, and Tony Wiggins has a Keystone Cop sheriff uniform, and he's been talking about some of the favorite people that he'd like to see put in jail, and we thought maybe we would put them in jail and then have people pay money to keep the ones in jail if they wanted to stay the longest.
And we'll talk more this coming week about those involved in that fundraiser, some local politicians and others who, community leaders, who may find themselves incarcerated for a short time to help fund art projects in the Carlinville area. Now, when you talk about the Route 66 tourist, whether they're from somewhere else in the country or they come from overseas, one thing's clear. They're not just here to be a part of the car scene and check out the highway. Carlinville is certainly attractive in that non-highway aspect of the celebration.
I think the murals and the 66 signs and everything, it just seems like, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, just somebody who's maybe in Europe, okay, this brochure says Springfield, this brochure says St. Louis, I'm just going to stay on 55. And it sounds like there's a lot of material for someone from far away to say, yeah, I'm going to check this out. And do they get deeper into the history, like, the mines and people from you got the museum down there in Gillespie, and people dig a little deeper than just cars in a road.
Yeah, I think so, yes. And what is interesting, and I'm just going to throw this out real quick, because I went to a conference, and there was a gentleman who was a photographer from Czechoslovakia, and he was presenting, and he said there was 3 things that they were looking for, people that were traveling, and he comes every year. One is history, which we have. The second one, right at the moment, I can't think of what it is. But the third one, is quirky. They want things quirky. I know what the second one. The second one is that they have nobody else has it. It's something that's unique. But the third one is quirky, and we used to have that with the Rabbit Ranch. Now that poor Rich
it's these 3.
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
Poor Rich passed away. But the thing that we do have is the turkey tracks. And it is fascinating that people like that. I mean, I don't even know if everybody in Cooper County knows where the turkey tracks are and why they're there. But, so it is interesting to see what exactly they like to talk about.
One thing I was going to mention, the Sears Homes and the Sears Homes neighborhood is the number one thing that tourists want to see in Carlinville, and they really want to go inside them and tour them. We haven't gotten that far yet, but it is on the horizon. Maybe we'll get to it. But we did some wayfinding signs and tried to get some new maps created so that people can find that neighborhood without just giving out a home address.
But the visitors that come here, too, take a look at the Sears Homes, and they're looking at the idea. I mean, their imagination sets them back into when the people lived there. They don't mind that they're small, or maybe that neighborhood's a little more crowded, or you really don't have enough room and your car might be on the sidewalk. They see it for the historical value of how in the world do you put 156 houses over here all at one time, and the people live there, work there, but they only live there a couple of years before their way of work leaves them stranded, and now then the houses are empty. So they've gone through. They're like a dog that doesn't have a home, and then he finds a home, and he doesn't have a home. They go up and down and up and down, but we're determined to continue to move them up.
And there will be tours of the Sears Homes, the neighborhood, standard edition, and
during the
Jubilee. Yes, during the Jubilee.
Yeah, you can get on East Main Street by the courthouse, and there'll be a people hauler and a tractor, and it will travel through town down to the Sears neighborhood and then back again. And
let's talk about the live music. As you mentioned, you kicked it off there. Boy, you do have a loaded lineup.
We do. Chris Valillo starts at 12:30, and Butch Moore and Niehaus, Rush and Wilson, and what's the new one we just got?
Yeah, the new one is Devin C. Williams. This guy is...
Oh, there it is.
This is probably a new one to our community. He's from Macoupin County, but he's a traveling musician. I actually saw him twice in Florida and said, when are you going to be home? Sometime we want to book you here. So as of last night, we were able to get him on our agenda, so we're pretty excited about that. He'll be there. He plays a resonator guitar and cigar box guitars and writes a lot. So we're going to have some songwriters in the round as well that are local. When I say local, from Kincaid to Gillespie and beyond. There's a couple of bluegrass groups that play together, and there's going to be music all day.
I have to think that parade of Model A's is going to be something.
Oh, I think it will be. And the fun thing is how that came about. Doug and Joe Brockhouse are people that several of your listeners and all of us remember, that good friends, good people who lived here and then retired in the St. Louis area. And I was at a wedding recently, and Doug and I were talking about this Jubilee, and he said, well, I could bring my Model A up. And I said, do it. He says, well, in fact, he said, I belong to this Restorers Club, and it's the Midwest Model A Restorers Club, and it's in the Kirkwood area. He said, I'll see if some of the other guys that are in it will bring theirs up too. So we're not sure how many are coming, but we think we'll have 4 or more, and they're going to drive them all the way up here and land out at Portillo's for a little while, take a break there, and we wanted to give them the down-home welcome. So we've got Dan St. Ange, who's going to be prepared to sing them the Carlinville welcome sign the minute they all get there, take their break, and then
we'll have an escort and bring them in town at the sound of the noon whistle.
Yeah.
So the hope is that everybody that's on the square and in the businesses shopping and walking around the square will all kind of take in the Model A's as they go take their parking spot over by the courthouse.
Yeah, tip their hat. They'll go take a lap around a couple of times, go over and put their cars on display, and then, of course, Tom Emery's got the first presentation up. He's going to talk about what these kind of cars did on the Mother Road at that time. And then, Bobbi, you've got another connection with Midwest Trucking America group.
Mm-hmm.
They have a local chapter around somewhere. They're going to bring some antique or older trucks in as well. So we can't tell you numbers yet, but they're coming.
I know I said this the other day when I talked to you that, you have 2 sets of vehicles. I mean, I think people could go see muscle cars all day and never get tired of it. But to have 2 car show type extensions where there's clearly not overexposure, and obviously people love their trucks like nobody's business. So this is kind of a neat thing. Gives you your own fresh look.
Yeah, and I love the muscle cars. I mean, I go all over taking pictures of those, but then I didn't really think about, well, that isn't what was on the road between 1926 and 1930 when the first alignment went through Carlinville. This is what you would have seen driving, if anything. So, loaded with a bunch of booze and the Benell gang driving. And the sheriff putting them in the jail.
Local history is just a central theme of this event, highway or no highway. Andrea Duncan talks about what built the county, mines, and more. And she talks about some of the authors who will be a part of the Jubilee.
I think a lot of people now, younger people too especially, don't realize how much mining played a part in the growth of Macoupin County. So I'm going to give you a quick history lesson, if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely. It's fascinating how the mass migration to this country, and people just said, you know what, it's a better life, hop on a boat, and then they're here.
Right. So the first mine was sunk in 1879. And since that time, there's been 182 mines sunk in Macoupin County. Some of these were only open for a couple of years, but some were open for decades. And as you said, this is the time period where all the immigrants came to Macoupin County. My maternal grandfather and his brothers came. My paternal grandfather came. And the reason they came from Scotland. The reason they came is because they found out that the seam of the coal was 6 to 9 feet. And in Scotland, it was only 2 feet. So you had to lay on your side while you were picking your coal. So as soon as they found out that they could come and they could stand up in the mine and work, that's what brought everybody here. But in 1920, which is again around the time we're talking about, the total of mines in Macoupin County were 19. that were operating, and then they employed 6,500 miners, and they produced more than 6.3 million tons that year, which was about 10% of what was going on in the state of Illinois. So the mining, monsters we all love. As soon as you hear monster, your ears, perk up and you want to listen. But the miners really played an important part in this too. And again, it all goes in this time period.
I know you have some great authors who will appear.
Is Tom Emery, who you already mentioned, a Carlinville native. He is an historian who has done an amazing job with his books and also his articles. Whatever Tom is talking, you're always going to learn something. So he's going to be talking about the Model A's and the Mother Road. The second person up is Jim Arcaci. I think a lot of people now, younger people too especially, don't realize how much mining played a part. Ended up growing up in Sawyerville, went to school in Benilde. I think a lot of people now, younger people too especially, there's always these stories that you hear. Like the old timers told the stories about the people that came to Benilde. And the Benilde was labeled by Time magazine. I think a lot of people now, younger people too especially, don't, but is it true? Or are they just stories that people told? And I love stories. So it ended up, Jim with his friend John Euban wrote this book. John had passed away in the middle of writing the book. But I think what I like about it is the fact that it sounds like little essays. And then I think a lot of people, so he really has proof of what he's talking about. So I think it's very interesting, and I think that people are going to love that interview. The other thing that we have planned, and I'm excited about this, there is a bar in Benilde called Duds. I don't know if you know that or not, but they are going to have mocktails up on the courthouse square during our courthouse lawn. Mm-hmm. And so we're kind of getting into the swing of the flappers and the mobsters and that type of thing.
So it's a family event on the courthouse lawn. So it's mocktails in the daytime, and then your cocktails are later on the square in the evening.
Once again, the Jubilee really gets going with the Model A's there at noon, and a lot of activities, as we mentioned, at the Cannonball Jail and on the courthouse lawn. I did want to make it clear, too, that the scene will shift to the downtown square. Fittingly, at 6:26, the municipal band will perform. So a special day ahead in Carlinville, and I can't say enough about the folks who have worked on this event and the sponsors like Heinz Furniture, but a special day, and it was with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Well, that is a wrap for the forum. We'll have a lot to say about the Jubilee all the way through Friday, and we'll broadcast live from that jail and bail fundraiser at the Cannonball Jail. That is Forum for this week. I'm Sean Billette saying so long right here on WSMI.